In today's video, I'm gonna share with you the 5 biggest mistakes that swimmers make when it comes to breathing. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first mistake is poor body and head position. We know the water is so dense. When you're moving through this medium, it's so important not only to reduce drag and for your technique to have a proper body and head position, but oftentimes a lot of swimmers don't have their head in the right spot when you're trying to take a breath. So we're gonna focus on freestyle for the scope of this first mistake. When you're taking your freestyle breath, you wanna have it timed with the stroke. And we'll talk about the timing in just a little bit, but I wanna really focus on what's happening with your head position and your body position. Remember, your body is flat in the water. Your eyes should be on the prize. The prize is the bottom of the pool or the lake or the ocean if you're swimming open water. And so when you're looking down, you're actually gonna position your head in the ideal way to take a breath on your side, because when you swim freestyle or any long axis stroke, you have this great rotation that's going on side to side. So when you take your hand, you place it in the water, and then you rotate onto your side. If your eyes are already on the prize, which is the bottom of the pool, that rotation is gonna happen pretty naturally, and you're just gonna tilt your head to the side. And as you tilt your head to the side, you wanna focus on keeping one eye and one ear underneath the surface of the water. You wanna make sure as if you're lying on your side, and it's a natural rotation. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, how can I keep one eye and one ear in the water while I'm on my side? I'm just gonna end up swallowing water if my mouth is completely submerged. And what actually happens, as long as you're making forward progress and you have forward momentum in the water, you're actually gonna create an air pocket. And with that air pocket, you can actually breathe. It's really amazing when you watch in slow motion, when you look at a swimmer breathing on their side, regardless of the side, you don't actually have to be moving very fast, and you'll create this air pocket that allows you to get that breath. And then as you rotate back to the other side, your head is going to naturally sink back down where your eyes are looking at the bottom of the pool or the bottom of the ocean. Now, one of my favorite drills to help with your breathing technique is using a paddle, taking off the strap, and then actually placing the top of the paddle right on the top of your head while you swim. And as you swim, you're gonna rotate your head and catch a breath. Remember, when you breathe, you wanna keep one eye and one ear in the water. If you lift your head up to get a breath, the paddle's not gonna stay on your head. What you're doing is you're using the resistance of the water to press the paddle against your head. Believe it or not, the faster you swim with this drill, the easier it becomes. Now, this drill is great for a couple of reasons, because number one, it allows you to really focus on keeping your spine in line and your eyes on the bottom of the pool. If you lift your head up, the paddle's not gonna stick around. Then, as you take your breath, it really forces you to have that rotation where your head stays in line. And when you're doing this drill, it forces you to keep one eye and one ear in the water. And as you get that rotation, you're gonna have that continuous pressure of the resistance pushing the paddle into your head. Now, the second biggest mistake a lot of swimmers make is simply not having any kind of a consistency to their breathing pattern. So it's really important that you actually have a lot of comfort in how often you're breathing. Now, in a lot of the strokes, like breaststroke, for example, you breathe every single stroke. So the timing sort of takes care of itself. With freestyle, theoretically, you don't need to take any breaths. You can do a whole length of the pool and you can just not breathe at all. I don't recommend that unless it's a race. Any of the shorter distances, you can get away with not taking a breath because it's short, it's gonna be over. But if you don't have a breathing pattern that's consistent, you're not gonna be able to sustain your swimming technique, your velocity, and of course your endurance for a long period of time. So it's super important that you have a breathing pattern. There's a couple things you could do. You could take a breath every single stroke. That's too much rotation, and quite frankly, you don't really need that much oxygen. It just interferes with the stroke. I more recommend breathing every 2, 3, or 4 strokes. And once you get past breathing every 4 arm strokes, like every 5, 6, 7, something like that, well, then you're getting into breath control training. Now, for me personally, I always breathe every 2 strokes. I have a dominance on one side, and that's actually okay. There's something called bilateral breathing, which is where you breathe on alternating sides. So if you breathe every 3 strokes, you're actually gonna have a more balanced stroke, but that comes at a slight expense of having a breathing rhythm and a stroke rhythm. So it's important to be able to breathe on both sides comfortably, but don't feel bad if you only breathe on one side and you feel more comfortable breathing on one side. Finally, if we talk about sprinting versus distance, when you're doing a shorter distance, like the 50 freestyle, it's okay to not take any breaths. Maybe you take 1 breath or 2 or 3. It's important that you know where those breaths are and when you're gonna take the breath. So it's a 50 and you take 1 breath, you're gonna take it 4 strokes after the flip turn on the way back, something like that. So you basically have a game plan. And of course, distance is really important to have that breathing rhythm. Now, how do we talk about breath training. But training regularly, we talked about the consistency of breathing every 2, 3, 4, whatever it is so important. It's also important to train your lungs outside of the pool as well. You can actually train your lungs and expand the flexibility of your lungs and your physiology to actually improve your vital lung capacity and also develop your lungs to be stronger in the water so that you can swim faster and smarter than ever before. There are a few breathing exercise options that you can try. First up is diaphragmatic breathing, or what some people call belly breathing. Just lie down with one hand on your chest and the other on your stomach. Take a slow breath in through your nose, letting your belly fill up like a balloon. As you breathe out through your mouth, let your belly fall. This helps you use your lungs to their full potential. There's also box breathing. This one is all about rhythm, so you'll inhale for a count of 4, hold your breath for 4, exhale for 4, and then hold with empty lungs for a final count of 4. It's an easy way to build better breath control. Beyond just breathing, your best friend for improving lung capacity is aerobic exercise. Think about running, cycling, or even hopping on an elliptical. When you do cardio, you force your heart and lungs to work harder to get oxygen to your muscles. This is how you improve your VO2 max, so you'll be able to swim for longer at high intensity without running out of gas. Now let's get into the fourth biggest mistake that swimmers make. It's breathing in and out of the walls. Now, even if you're not a competitive swimmer, you've seen the flags at the pool. That represents, 5 meters away from the wall, and that's what we call the no breath zone. So ideally, you train your lung capacity and your consistency in the pool so that you don't actually breathe inside the flags. That means coming into the wall on the approach of the flip turn and also coming off the wall. Now, hopefully, when you push off the wall, whether it's a flip turn or a fresh start, you're actually able to kick off and streamline well past 5 meters off the wall. But this applies as well when you're heading into the wall. You don't want to focus on getting that breath right before your flip turn. You have to train ahead of time and really plan out your breath so that way you have the lung capacity not to slow down into the wall. That is the most important part of any type of swimming event. And if you're a triathlete, you might be trying to disregard, I don't even do flip turns in open water or something like that. By training flip turns and having this focus on breath capacity, breath control, you're actually improving your overall endurance. And that's what you really want to be doing for open water as well as triathlon. So that's how you can train that in the pool, by focusing on your flip turns and minimizing the amount of breathing that you do in and out of the walls, because it's going to develop your endurance. Now, another big mistake that swimmers make is not following any kind of structured interval training. It's basically just not following a structured workout, basically just trying to wing it. So we talked about winging it in the 50 freestyle and just diving in and hoping that you don't need to breathe. A lot of people follow the same methodology for doing a swim workout, and that's no good. If you're trying to develop any kind of skill or mastery or expertise, whether it's in swimming, weight training, or anything else in life, you want to have a structured approach. So if you guys are looking for a structured training program specific to your goals that's dynamic, make sure you check out the MySwimPro app, available for iOS and Android. Pool workouts, dryland workouts, they're personalized to you because you need to have a specific training program if you're serious about improving your lung capacity. And again, this is really key for not only beginners, intermediate, and advanced swimmers, but regardless of your level, because it takes that level of consistency to see that improvement, whether it's in your breath control, stroke technique, endurance, or anything like that.